Luxury sellers, they're concerned about how are you going to price my property. It's worth more than you're going to say it is. I'm not going to make that decision. You and I, we're going to have a conversation as a seller, but then I'm going to have a pricing committee of world-renowned real estate. Do you know what a pricing committee is? It is a broker's open that I'm going to invite. So I have a pricing committee. Remember those other sharks I talk about, the ones that we used to talk bad about, but now we're swimming with them? I'm going to tell them, hey, I have a property that I'm going to bring to market. They know because they were probably one of the people that I beat out, right? Because here's what I do know. I know that when my competition goes into the home and they see my pre-marketing book somewhere in the house, they say, oh, you've met with Neal. All right, we'll see you at the pricing committee meeting. That's what they're saying, right? But so the pricing committee, I'm going to tell my colleagues, my friends who are also my competitors, hey, that property over on 123, we're going to bring it to market. You all are, so they're not going to price it to help me out. Why do they want to come to that pricing committee meeting or viewing? They want to preview the property. They want to have a chance. So I'm going to have about 8 or 9 of the top agents in my marketplace that are my competitors, but also colleagues. They're sharks, so we're nice-ish to each other. They just want to know, can I get more peanuts and pennies in my pocket? If I can go in and have a reasonable idea of what's about to come to market, that exclusivity, right? If I can have an idea and then I know Neal, do you think that's going to encourage them to be part of my pricing committee? Absolutely. Now, if the pricing committee comes back, so what I'm going to tell the seller is, we're going to do this. I'm not going to tell them any price that you and I discuss. I'm going to let them know, or they're going to tell us what they think, because all of these people are very good at valuing properties. They've sold, they've done business in the area, right? And then we're going to say, we're going to come back with that. We'll have your number. If it's a big difference, I'm going to ask the seller to pay for a pre-appraisal. All right. So we're going to let that continue to run. Let me move past.
You would ask the seller to do a pre-appraisal?
Yes. So I would ask the seller to do a pre-appraisal, because if they're dead set on a price, and if me and my pricing committee are not, I need a neutral third party that's going to come in and say, well, here's what the bank says your home is worth, right? Here's that value. It's not me, it's not my colleagues. This is someone who has no interest in this. You can choose your appraiser if you want. I mean, I have a list, but I want them because I also want to see how vested they are in getting the property sold.
Have you ever had anyone to ask you to pay for it?
Yes, I have.
And did you?
No. Because, like, for me, I would say, so for me, once again, I say no. It's easy for me to say no to everyone, except my wife, right? It's easy for me to say no to everyone because I just know what my value is. And so I would ask them, great, I'll pay for this. I'm going to send you my phone bill. I'm going to send you my water and electric. You pay mine, I'll pay yours. Right?
If you say you're paying for it, then it's your appraiser, and the customer's not getting a neutral third party anyway.
So I just say no. I don't give any reasons. Hey, will you pay for it? No. Next question. Yes, ma'am.
What I say is, if you will do this, I will reimburse you at closing for this appraisal.
You all can do whatever you want. I say no. Right? So whatever your business model is, I say no. Yes, ma'am.
Would you say that it would be great to a doctor if they evaluate you, for a pre-existing condition?
So I think that the affluent, so the question is, would I try to equate it to another profession, a highly respected profession? The successful, they know. And so for me, I am typically bringing it back to whatever they do for a living. I bring it back to them. That's why I don't say doctor, anything. I say, oh, you want me to pay your bills? I'm going to send you mine, right? And so but once again, my personality, I'm okay with that. So I would say, well, that's sort of like me coming into your business, Dave, and doing this when you know your business better than I do, right? An appraiser is going to know. Now, I'm good at it, but an appraiser is going to know how to value properties in most cases better than us. They're going to look at things at a bank. Now, and then we explain to them that most affluent buyers are going to get an appraisal on a property. Now, it might not be contingent on appraisal, but they want to know value. So the reason why I would address that is because I want to let them know what the hurdles or the obstacles might be, so that when it happens 6 months or a year down the line, they're like, Neal, we never knew this was going to. No, you know, because it's right here in my content. So really quickly, are we good so far? Okay, so I'm going to, so that's 506. I'm going to skip past 506. Testimonials. How many of you have written testimonials somewhere that you are giving to people? Most of my clientele in the waterfront properties and in the single family home, I deal a lot with families. Okay, so I deal a lot with families in my single family home acreage. In my waterfront, where I have James and Julie Betterman, their kids have already grown, moved out of the home, and they're boating, golfing, so they don't have kids at home, but they remember. So you'll see that most of I've intentionally chosen from all of my testimonials, I've intentionally chosen testimonials that sit here and talk about their children, right? So showings, everything fantastic. That's not what people are going to remember. I helped them with their kids. If we went a little bit further, then the next testimonial is going to say the same thing. I kept their kids out of trouble while they viewed properties, while they were able to look at homes. So I'm telling sellers, if I can deal with their heart, if I can get their heart, I know they're going to give me their money, right? If you get a person's heart, they're going to give you their money. My wife can have every penny I have because she got my heart, right? So my kids at my church, they can have every penny I have because they have my heart. But the converse is also true. I can go to any of my kids' parents where I am at church. Why? Because I have their heart when I'm taking care of their kids. So now Pastor Neal is also a broker. Do you all see how there are no mistakes? All right. So one thing let me just address this right here. The fastest way to this photo right here. How many of you have been published anywhere? Well, as long as it's not an adult site, right? See, look, people put their hands down. I'm just kidding, ladies. Come on. How many of you have been published? How many of you are using that publication consistently? Once you get published, your job, if you want to get in front of affluent individuals and have them come to you, get published. I'm not talking about a book. I'm talking about in a magazine, online. I don't care where it is. And I'm going to go there. Let me see if there's anything here. This photo right here. Second most profitable photo. That's my wife when she actually had hair or long hair right here. But this is when Florida Realtors came and did a video. But the simple fact that there's a video camera on me, what does that say to the people that I'm looking to serve? It tells them that I'm important, that someone wants to see or hear what he's doing. So my question to you would be, how can you get something like this into your marketing? It's not enough for you to have a photo taken of you. What if you had a photo of someone taking a photo of you? Do we start to see? Same thing. Same background, same location. But now if you can have someone take a photo of being taken of you, immediately you're more valuable. All right. Next part. Let's go. Do you all see same practice right here? If I'm presenting, same thing. This photo right here is the single most valuable, most profitable photo that I have ever had in my life. Simply because I have a microphone in my hand and an old white guy is looking at me to see what I'm saying. Is it true? This right here tells James and Julie that they can trust me. Why? Because someone, a white-haired white guy, is listening to me. That tells them. So now my question to you is, now this is the stuff you're not going to read in the books. They're not going to tell you this in class. This is what my coach, my mentor, he says, Neal, get old, white-haired people to listen to you. And when they do, capture it. If you don't like it, you don't have to. Or you can go to the Kiwanis meeting this weekend or the next week and just have somebody to take photos as people look at you, right? So, are you all okay? Do you start to see how little tweaks? It's nothing groundbreaking or earth-shattering. It's just a little like, I didn't think about it. Neither did I. That's why my mentor is making a lot more than I am. Even still. Okay? And so then finally, anything else here? Your credentials. This is your brag book. So the whole idea is, yes, I market properties, I do all of this, but also put something in there that talks about who you are, what you do. So for me, leadership, so designations are cool, they're all right, but any leadership experience you have, successful individuals want to work with leaders. How can you position yourself as a leader? I am a leader. I am not a leader in real estate. So the simple fact that I'm a leader makes successful people want to come alongside me or follow me. How can you duplicate that? Are we okay there? All right, so here's what we're going to do. After we dance just a little bit, let's see, nothing else there. All right, so do I have you all's permission to jump into, and you all like, Neal, why do you ask? You're gonna do it anyway. Can I jump into, yes ma'am.
Is that on YouTube?
Yes it is. I will have to send it to you because you can't find it. It's unlisted. But so once again, I'm going to send everything to you all, everything I've talked about, you all are going to get one email from Melinda. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. The email is going to have a lot of stuff in it. It's going to have links to everything that we talk about. It's going to have a link to 119 YouTube videos, 68 videos just talking about the luxury realm. It's going to give you templates, all of this stuff. I am sending one email to Melinda. I am not going to drip campaign anyone. I'm not going to put you all on a list. None of that. My contact info I'm going to give you all at the end. If you reach out to me, I'm only going to respond and answer the question that you ask, okay? Because integrity is, so I'm not just trying to get you all's information and list, but the amount of content in that one email is going to be overwhelming. You have to figure out what piece you're going to use, okay? You're going to have to figure out what part you're going to go in and in which order you're going to do that. All right, so that is on YouTube, but you'll have that link there. All right, so once we go there. So next, this idea of time being worth more than gold. So let's jump into this part now. We've already talked about swimming with sharks. Time is money. Everyone's heard that, yes? That is an incomplete equation. The rest of the equation is time is money if you can use money to make more time. Time is only money if you can use money to make more time. And here's how we create time. This is where the affluent, this is why they hire sitters, gardeners. This is why they hire housekeepers. It's not because they're snobs or they're lazy. It's because they know that there are better uses of their time. Are we starting to see things a little bit differently? So if I can do something that's more valuable than washing my car, I'm going to do that. Now, maybe it's just relaxing or going on vacation. I don't know. Here's what Jim Rohn says. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. Quickly, is everyone here familiar with Jim Rohn? Have y'all heard of Jim Rohn? If you have not heard of Jim Rohn, so I'm going to go ahead and just jump forward. I'm going to give you all a list of names that I need you to know and some content that I want you to start studying. Jim Rohn, Jimrohn. And here's why I want you to do it. Because those that we're looking to serve, these are the people that they understand, follow. So even if you have a millennial, so Jim Rohn, he passed away in 2000 and something. So I got to meet him a couple of times. So my dad was a huge fan of Jim Rohn, got to be mentored by Jim Rohn, right? So here's what I will tell you. The same things that Jim Rohn talked about, and Jim Rohn, even for millennials or Gen Z, the affluent kids, affluent families, their kids are still watching Jim Rohn, listening to Jim Rohn. So they are not necessarily going through and listening to all the new age stuff. They're still going back to the principles. Okay. So Jim Rohn, we want to know who he is. Zig Ziglar. We've heard the name. Dive into Zig Ziglar. Z-I-G-L-A-R. So Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar. Norman Vincent Peale. Norman Vincent Peale. All of these, you can find audio recordings, YouTube, audio books. Norman Vincent Peale. W. Clement Stone. W. Clement Stone. Now, these are the people that like go way back to even before Think and Grow Rich, right? So W. Clement Stone, Norman Vincent Peale, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. How many of you have read Think and Grow Rich? Hands down. How many of you read Think and Grow Rich more than one time a year? The affluent, the successful read Think and Grow Rich every quarter, just because of the 13 principles, right? So if we want to work with, we need to speak and think like. I need Think and Grow Rich to be one of the books that you're reading at least quarterly. You don't need to read 52 books. You need to read one book and start implementing everything it says in it. Think and Grow Rich, Norman Vincent Peale. We mentioned W. Clement Stone. Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale. The Strangest Secret. Earl Nightingale. Okay, so now we're going to go with some newer, I'm going to say younger people, but they're either old or dead, but they're the younger people. Okay. Thomas J. Stanley. Dr. Thomas J. Stanley. You all know of him. You don't know him. He's the author of The Millionaire Next Door. Thomas J. Stanley. You're not going to like what Thomas J. Stanley says because he does not talk about the glittering rich. He talks about the person that saves and invests and buys a $300,000 property and then they keep it for 40 years and then they sell it and it's $7 million. You're not going to like it, but the principles are the same, okay? Lori Moore. For those of you who are members of the Institute, you'll know Lori Moore. Last name is M-O-O-R-E hyphen M-O-O-R-E. So it's Lori, L-A-U-R-I-E. Lori Moore.
M-O-R-I-E. Two O's. More dash.
No, two mores. M-O-O-R-E. So two more. So it's more.
Okay.
So just add additional more. So didn't lots more. Come on, we could have a whole game right here. So Lori Moore. David Machonsky. If you type in David and M-I-C-H, it's going to show up. So David Machonsky, M-I-C-H-O-N-S-K-I. And he's going to really talk about how to market properties, like power marketing, like what are the real things that resonate? How do we take every listing and turn it into an auction environment, even in a market when there might be nothing selling, right? That fear of loss. So that's Dave Machonsky. And then one of the ones that's been giving the game away for almost 20 years that no one has paid attention to, Jack Cotton. So he's also an instructor for the CRS. So Jack Cotton. If you go on YouTube and look up Jack Cotton, you're probably going to find hundreds, if not thousands of videos where he's just telling you. So the whole idea of my pre-marketing book came from Jack Cotton, my mentor. So he was like, hey, do this. No one else in your market is going to have it. And it works. Okay. So Jack Cotton. Are we okay so far? So when we talk about this whole idea of time, here's how we're going to use their affinity of time for our advantage. One, affluent, successful individuals. We talk about that attention span. I am a reader. I love paragraphs. Next to my wife, paragraphs are the sexiest things I've ever seen, right? Just a long paragraph, well dictated in a book. Oh yeah. But I'm a weirdo if you all haven't figured that out. Successful individuals, the affluent, hate paragraphs. So we are going to use executive summary format in every form of communication that we use. Executive summary format. And all that is, we're going to speak in bullet points. One of the best examples, if you're presenting an offer electronically or in person to a affluent seller, what you want to do is, Mr. and Ms. Seller, these are the key terms of the contract: sales price, escrow, closing date, any additional things. The entire contract is attached for your review. We are not going to just send them over an entire contract, or we're not going to sit down with them and have the full contract right there and walk through and using our pen to show them. Executive summary format. Many times our successful individuals will never look at a full document from us. They have people for that. Oftentimes you are their people. That's why single agency is the preferred type of agency for the affluent. Are we starting to see? So if we have conversations, if we leave voicemails, I did it with you all today. Here's what we're going to cover. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And then after that, I ask, what do you all want to cover? Right? So it's not just in one element in life, it's in everything that we do. Everyone okay with that idea? Okay, so that's something that we want to start using, executive summary format in our conversations, in our interactions. If you have a meeting, tell them what you're going to discuss, and if they're not needed for an entire meeting, don't have them there for the entire meeting. Hey, we're going to discuss these first 2 bullet points that are pertinent to you. After that, you're dismissed. So in your consultations, there might be people who need to sit in the entire consultation. There might be people that need to jump in and out of your consultation. Respect their time. If you respect their time, they're going to feel respected, and then they're going to respect you. Study to show yourself approved. Study to show yourself approved, from one of my good books, from one of my favorite books. How much do you study? And here's what I'm talking about studying. How many of you know the key metrics to your marketplace? There are only 3 key metrics in any marketplace that you need to know in order to be an expert. What's the first one? What was it? Okay, average sales price. Right now, just so we're aware, does everyone know the difference between average and median? Average and median. Most economists and statisticians now are using median, especially in the luxury realm, because if you have a $10 million sale and a $1 million sale, the average is going to be messed up. The median, especially with a number of transactions or trades. So we want to know median sales price. Know the median sales price. The next one is list price to sales price ratio, or original list price to sales price, however you want to look at it. List price to sales price ratio. And then the last one is going to be month supply of inventory. If I've studied and if I know list price to sales price ratio, month supply of inventory, and days on market, I am probably positioned to win in your marketplace. Does everyone know where to find that information easily? Yes, we do. So I don't need to go to floridarealtors.org. You all know to go to floridarealtors.org, tools and research. We're coming over here. We're going to market stats. Are we good there? Are you sure? All right. So say next on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes. All right. Good stuff. I knew I was in the right room. So Florida Realtors, are we using? We talked about that. We talked about that. Okay. So can I get to the good stuff? You guys want to know, where do you find the people, right? That's what I really want to know. Where do I find these people, these unicorns? And then we'll just circle back around and get some additional stuff. All right, so first, do you know who your ideal client is? Remember, we asked that question. How many of you are using RPR? So this is what I'm using to do my POVs. RPR, we're using RPR. So how many of us have been using RPR typically for our professional opinions of value CMA? We are now going to use RPR to tell us where the affluent are hiding in plain sight. All right, are you all ready? Yes? All right, here's what we're going to do. Have you all used the report section here and looked at this trade area report? Anyone besides Trista you have used trade area report? Anyone else? So this is a commercial report, but I want you to come over here to reports, and I want you to go to trade area report. Everyone see that? When we go to trade area report, we're just going to put in a zip code, right here, and it's going to generate a report for us. So I have two. One of the zip codes that I work is the 316 zip code. Here's why I want us to use a trade area report. Do you all see why I might care about the 316 zip code? Do you all see these waterfront right here, these aisles? I also do 304, which is right here. Do you all see why we do 304? But now when we come down here, it's telling me the median household income in zip code 316, median age. Are we okay so far? It's also telling me the dominant tapestry that they have separated. So I immediately, and every one of you can do this in RPR anywhere in the country. So for me, if I want to know what's happening in the luxury market in Sarasota area, I go in, I'm going to look up zip codes. Now, be very careful using zip code information, especially when we disseminate it to the public. We know Facebook got in trouble for this, right? So we are not going to share this information, but we need to know this info. So this tells me senior styles in 316 zip code. 33% of the individuals fall under this tapestry, and then 25% are going to fall under silver and gold. So don't get stuck on the names, but by me doing and focusing on these two tapestries right here, I've almost identified 60% of this marketplace. Are we clear? So everything that I do, I'm speaking to James and Julie Betterman. That's it. I am not answering questions. So let's come down here to median age. So household size, we see 2.1. So they didn't slice people up, I don't think. They left, right? So now, median age, 53-64. If we come over here to trendsetters, the median age is 37. I am not concerning myself with the questions or the concerns of a 37-year-old in my marketplace in 316. I'm answering questions. I care about what my market cares about, what my target audience care about. Now, let's look at this. Median net worth. Here's where I want you to be able to look at things and see what's really being said and not just what's being said. So we come here. Median age, James and Julie, I told you they're between 53 and 62. That's my target. Diversity index. So what this means is how different is it there? Like for age, race, nationality, nation of origin, gender, all of that. So once we get up here, silver and gold, we know what James and Julie Betterman look like. When we come down here to the trendsetter, it's a little bit different, but I don't care about this. Here's what I want you to see. Median household income. The younger people, they're making more money. Do we see that? But let's look at the median net worth. So for me, I'm looking at median net worth and I'm having those conversations as opposed to income. Totally different. Are you all with me? Let's look at home value. If you look at this right now, 400,000, 400, 700. What does that tell you? They're living outside of the means. What is it? House poor? What is it telling you? Come on. There are bad answers, but safe space. What is that telling us? So for me, I'm sorry? House poor, not necessarily. So remember, I want you all to start knowing what you're looking at. So when I see this right here, if I see someone this age, median net worth, 200,000, 500,000, and their home value right here. If I come down a little bit further, home ownership rate, 65 and 87%, I know that these two groups right here, they've owned these waterfront homes. Don't forget what 316 looks like. These are waterfront homes. This is the assessed value. So now I know that they've owned these homes for 15, 20, 30 years. Are you all with me? So now when inventory is low in the pandemic and everyone's trying to buy, I'm going to this tapestry right here. Hey, Mr. and Miss Betterman, 87% of that tapestry own their homes. The assessed value, $440,000. Let me tell you, I know there's not a piece of dirt for $440,000. So now what am I doing? My marketing efforts, I'm going to people who have something that people want to buy that will pay a premium. So the $440,000 is selling for $3 million. right? Because I know this. The level of my communication is going to be different because I'm looking at the education level, bachelor's degrees, okay? We can start looking at different media, avid readers of newspapers, magazine, and books. My place of business, where I get almost all of my business, is at Panera Bread. 316 has a Panera Bread. I go there. When I pull up in the parking lot, I know who's inside simply because of the type of vehicles that are going to be in the parking lot. The new trendsetters, they're driving subcompact cars. I don't want to work with you if you're driving a subcompact car. Why? I'm going in. I'm knowing that I want to work with someone who's going to have read Think and Grow Rich. I've told Trista this, so here's my secret sauce. I go into Panera Bread. I open up my computer that has this on the back. No one knows what it is. They're like, what is that? But next to me, I have my book, my copy of Think and Grow Rich. I have my own coffee mug because I'm part of the SIP club, but I bring my personal coffee mug because why? The old people, they bring their own cup. Am I right? So now I have what they read. I'm dressed like this in Panera. They can dress however they like. I'm dressed like this in Panera and I have my cup. I go back, get a refill, I sit down. I'm doing my professional opinions of value. I'm doing all of my work from Panera. Hey, young man, Think and Grow Rich, have you read it? A few dozen times. What's your favorite trait? What's your favorite key? What's your biggest takeaway? Now, I'm having a conversation. I don't look like them. I'm not their age, but we're so much alike that they have to like me. All right, are you all with me? And then, finally, right here, trade area report. When you go down, it breaks down these tapestries. It tells us what their socioeconomic traits. It tells us what their market profiles are. So I know it's going to come in. Good health is a priority. They believe in healthy eating coupled with vitamins and dietary supplements. Active social lives include travel, especially abroad.